remember, it's all about experience. And one thing about experience is simply this: whether good or bad, you have learned something. Life is all about growing. And even the bad situations can actually be a good situation when you look back at what you learned. So, what have you learned in a bad experience? Well, first of all, you have learned to be more resourceful. You have learned to be more creative. You have also, as well, become wiser because of what has happened in your life. Also, as well, you make the certain adjustments and navigations to make sure that it doesn't happen again. You say to yourself, well, I'm not going to let that happen again. And so it's important. When you look at your past, always look at it as something as experience. Don't live in the past, but you can learn from it. Secondly, look forward and see hope. It was Paul who wrote in 1 Corinthians 13:13. He says, these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Now, hope basically means that you believe that you have a future. And that is absolutely important to know. We need to live each day as if this is the last day that we could be on the planet. Now, again, I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm not trying to be macabre. I'm not trying to create fear. But I just want to remind you about one person who wrote this. He said simply this: it takes 9 months to get into, of course, on this planet, but it only takes one moment to, of course, leave this planet. And we need to recognize that we need to maximize every moment of this day. But we also need to look forward. Paul says, forgetting those things which are behind, I press on to that which is ahead. God's got a great plan and future for your life. But remember this: every day is an opportunity to change our lives. It was, of course, I was thinking of John Maxwell. And John Maxwell basically said it's the small consistencies, the small things that you do day by day that actually determine your future. What you do today can actually make your future brighter and also as well more credible, and also as well more beautiful in that respect. Also, look around and find some reality. It's amazing what you can see when you just take time to look around. My father in law, one of his favorite things that he used to do when he was with us, he used to love to go to malls and just watch people. He said he found people absolutely fascinating. He also had many opportunities to speak to people and to talk to them. So, why don't you today just kind of look around and observe? It's amazing what you can learn just by simply observing, and also keeping your mouth shut and, well, you observe. It is very important. And I love what David says. He says, people will think that you are intelligent and wise until you open up your mouth and leave all doubt that you may or may not be. So look around and remember, life is wonderful and it is beautiful. And especially as spring comes around, it's great to get out there and enjoy, and maybe taking little Fido for a walk. We have a British bulldog, and he's not crazy about walking. It's more like we drag him along. But I want to tell you something. Life can be very, very exciting. Life can be very interesting, but you gotta keep looking. It was James who said, be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. So look around and you'll find out that there is some realism and reality. And also, don't be afraid to look within. And I love what Paul had to say. He said simply this: let us examine our hearts. Let's look inside, because each and every single one of us, whether we know it or not, we are wonderfully and beautifully made. I've been watching a little TV special on David, and David's mother was talking to him, and she said, David, I want you to know something. You are wonderfully and fearfully made. You are made in the image of God. And because you're made in the image of God, you are special. And I want you to remember that today. You are special. There's nobody like you on this planet. There may be people who look like you. There may be people who have the same eye color, or, maybe as tall as you or shorter than you. It doesn't matter. Nobody has your eye print. No one has your fingerprint. There's no one who can bring to the table what you can bring. They don't have your skills. They don't have your insights. They don't have your interests. You are unique, and it's amazing what you can actually do. One of my favorite ladies that we often talk about is Joni Eareckson Tada. Now, Joni, when she was a teenager, jumped into a lake and broke her neck. And she's been paralyzed from the neck down. And many people kind of just, basically wrote her off. But she has had a full life. Now, that didn't mean that she got out of her wheelchair, but she learned that her wheelchair did not define her. And she became a world famous painter. She became a world famous speaker and an inspiration for people with disabilities. We know, for example, that Stephen Hawking, he was not defined by his wheelchair, and he wasn't defined by, his appearance. He was able to influence the world through his mind. And so you and I have a very unique footprint. We can make such a difference, but we need to remember, we need to look back and get our experience, but not live in the past. We need to look forward and see the hope. And remember, God's love gives us faith. And when we have faith, we know that we have a hope and a future. We need to look around and observe and find reality and the beauty of the world in which we live, because God made a beautiful world. And we need to look within, and we need to find ourselves. And of course, the way we can find ourselves is in the Lord. And remember, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. I want to just leave that thought with you today. If you like what you're hearing, of course, I encourage you to press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Robert Dean Steele. Thanks for spending time with me today.